Good evening, everybody. A warm winter evening here in Pittsburgh. I think it got up close to 60 here today. But chilling off a little bit tonight. So it's a good thing you all wore your heavy sweaters. All right. Perfect example of having all the, or identifying where all the indicators are going. When we saw the stochastics heading up, when we saw we were in an uptrend with kind of a double doji setup, that if we know what should happen after a double doji, a positive open, that tells us we could be buying immediately because this day right here is going to be approximately the same as this day right here. This double doji setup, especially when your stochastics are telling you you're in an uptrend, it's just an extremely high probability trade setup. So if we know that the markets were heading up based upon the NASDAQ opening higher after kind of hovering around the T-line, still a good prospect that we're going to come up to this level and or the 50-day moving average, which means even though the Dow is right here at the 50, want to watch to see if they can get this through the 50. If they can get this through the 50, that tells us we've still got more upside, and that's going to be kind of confirmed with the other indexes. Here's the S&P 500, that if it can get up through the 50, lots more space to the upside. So, and even the transportation index, which has been a nice steady eddy here for a while, just want to make sure it doesn't trade back below today's open because it doesn't really have a gap up at the top. It's more of a double doji gap up, telling us we've got some more upside. So that was also based upon crude oil. Even though it doesn't look real tradable, it's at least telling us that crude oil is in a basing stage, that we may now see this constant downtrend. Make this a little bit smaller. This big downtrend now may be basing out, and I say basing out because we're starting to stay up above the T-line, a little kicker signal down here, stochastic still heading up. Probably could bring us back up to the 50. Now, even if it fails the 50, I think it'll still be kind of waffling, telling us that the downtrend is over. So some of the other things that we're trading on the commodity side is BCAJ6. You can see the pattern that's set up in the gold area. Hold back a little bit, but you can see this wedge formation. If they break to the top of this wedge formation, we're going to have another strong run in gold, pretty much making this next run the same run as this. That's helping out, and we'll get to these later. Things like Nugget that are doing the same thing, where they can break through the 50 on a wave 3. That could move up into the $75, $80 range, which makes good option trading. All right, silver. Whoops. Silver also has this big fry pan bottom. Notice where it broke out through the 200. It's pulled back and kind of using the 200 as support. That's still the inkling of a J-hook pattern in silver. So you want to start watching some of the, or still watch some of these gold stocks and silver mining stocks. Bond prices just have not been able to break out, but they're not pulling back. Another J-hook pattern potential setting up. So this, you could be buying the bonds bond futures on positive trading. I'd look for a move above this level to be a buyer. And we can see what's basically happening in coffee. There's your little doji gap up coming out of the oversold area. So where's the first likely resistance area? Right here. So at least you know what your trade could be. And once it gets up here, you just watch to see what it does at that level. But at least the probabilities are right now telling us if they open positive tomorrow, over the next few days, this is the should be the target area. Oh, and this one is tradable. Is wheat. Whoops, they just opened up wheat. Notice what we've got going right here. Bearish J-hook pattern, which is being formed by a big bearish engulfing signal, and then your doji sandwich. So it's right here on a support level. We're probably going to be shorting this one on any weakness below this level. Oh, I'm sure TLT, that's the 20-year. Yes, that's doing the same type of setup as your J-hook pattern. So I'd be a buyer. I'd put a buy stop just above today's high. This is after hour. No, it's not. Maybe not after hours trading. I'd use this level right here as a buy stop. If it came up through there, you can tell which direction they're taking it. Okay, so again, back to Nugget. This has been making us tons of money ever since it broke out through this level. And you can see what's happening in here. They haven't been able to close this below the T-line. They had a kicker type signal, but it didn't confirm the next day. That basically told us the T-line was holding. And if it breaks out through this here, Katie, bar the door. That's so this is a nice thing to trade. I haven't traded it very much in the past, but basically you're taking a 3 leveraged ETF and buying the calls on it. I mean, that's a way to get a lot of leverage out of examining what the charts are doing. Okay, some of the stocks. So first I was going to just do some that we were looking at and then look at some other good ones. But the ones that we're in are pretty much good-looking stocks. So we're going to kind of review those here. TK, off this double bottom, we're still long. This one's still got the prospect of getting up to the 50. And if it breaks through, they've got the potential of coming all the way back up to filling this gap, which means from 7 to 17, you've got a good upside, profit percentage. Boot, you can see the T-line crunch. And when did this T-line crunch start, or uptrend start? Ever since the kicker signal here at the bottom. So you stay long on this, and as a matter of fact, you can still be buying this one on positive trading, meaning if they can close it up through the 50, because that's exactly what we're expecting out of the T-line crunch. And if they break through there, more than likely they can take it back up here to the highs, which is still about a 50% upside potential. So there's still some big moves in this market. We bought the stock and the calls on TEX, TEX. You can see the fry pan bottom. You can see where they kind of did a flutter kicker breakout of the 200. Now they did a doji today, right up in this area. Makes this very simple. If they open this positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately, because that's going to be your doji sandwich breakout of a fry pan bottom out through the J-hook pattern. You're probably going to start getting a fairly good run. Now, there's rumors on this one. I thought one rumor was that somebody upgraded it to $30 a share. Then one of the rumor sites has said there's probably a buyout at $30 a share. So whatever is taking it up, it doesn't really matter. It's moving in the right direction on a nice pattern. And this is kind of what I was explaining to the chat room the other day is there's always rumors of takeovers out there. And usually when I hear a rumor of a takeover, it's just about here in the uptrend. And as soon as I buy it, it went like this. So now at least I know if there's rumors of a takeover, I look at the pattern. Is the pattern telling me am I the last one getting in or am I the first one getting in? So on Lexmark, there's kind of, it's not even a rumor. They've been actively trying to find suitors because they think their stock's worth a heck of a lot more than where it's trading in the market. So coming out of a scoop pattern and breaking through the 50, at least told us that on nothing else, there's potential slingshot effect up here to the 200. And with it closing this strong today, going into the earnings, which is coming out before the open tomorrow, it tells us people are still in the, or that are close to the company are still anticipating some good earnings coming out. And kind of adding to that prospect that the earnings are probably being padded as well as possible. If they do have suitors, they want to make sure that their earnings look real great to everybody that's looking at them. TCK, just hanging on to this. Now this closed right at the 200 today. Makes this very important. If it opens lower, we'll take profits. That means they're having a hard time getting through the 200 and will probably be in a bobble. If it opens positive, just stay with it. And this is coming out of this big fry pan bottom. And notice where the breakout will be occurring. Right about where the fry pan started. So definitely want to hold on to this one. FCX, just stay. There's that double doji again. And the double doji has just got a very clear message. There's profit taking, but it's not very, what do I say, compelling profit taking. It's just profit taking. And when they open up positive, pretty much tells you that this day right here and this day right here is going to be approximately the same. And it also tells you there's going to be more upside. This one I like, getting ready for a breakout, is AYA. You can see the fry pan bottom. You can see the dimple right here, which was a Morningstar signal. I'd be buying this on positive trading tomorrow. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to see that on the recommended list in the morning. And EIGI, Old McDonald. This actually was on the other chart services was more of a doji, positive trading through the 50. Remember, the bigger the signal, the higher the probability it's in a nice uptrend. So worst case scenario, I would expect a 45 degree to come off of here. All right, so if we're watching what's happening in gold, it could possibly break out. These stocks are all doing the same thing, all consolidating and then moving up off the 50. You still can be buying SA. You can be buying AU. There's a nice J-hook pattern. AUY, a lower price stock, but I'd have a buy stop right in here. If it comes up through there, we know wave 3 is in progress. And, silver. SSRI, another one that's right here at the bobble. If they start trading this positive, I'd put a buy stop at 6. If it comes up through there, you know the J-hook bobble breakout is in progress. We were trading this a while back, USG. Same scenario. Morningstar signal right here on the T line. If it breaks through the 50, I would suspect it's coming back up to test this level. So these are all things that you want to keep on your watch list. Still like KMI. We got the message here. Nice doji, gap up, gap up, gap up, look for a 45 degree to come off of here. Okay, my STRP. And the reason I'm going through the ones that we've already been trading is because a lot of these are still the nicest charts out there. STRP, nice J-hook pattern off the 200 and the T-line. Another one that I wouldn't be afraid to be buying if it comes back up through today's high. I would tell you that J-hook pattern is now in progress. VRA. Looking at this one because we're right there. Not too much more to break this out through this downtrending channel on a double bottom. If it breaks out, got the possibility of another big wave to the upside. Beat. We recommended Beat today because if it opened positive, would that tell us about this big move? That the 200 was not going to act as resistance? At least the 45 coming off of here. ACAT. Nothing wrong with this chart. Anytime you can see that every time they pull back, they consolidate on the T-line area and then take it back up, that just tells you there's no change of investor sentiment, that it's still moving positive ever since the big belt hold piercing signal. ACAT. This one's just been a nice one. MTX, nice steady eddy. These are the type you try to get caught in. That once they get going, you just sit with them. So once again, if you've got 10 positions in your portfolio and you've got a few of these, that means you don't really have to pay attention to them. Got one very simple analysis. You wait to see a buy or a sell signal, and then you wait to see if they confirm it and close it back below the T-line. CFX, steady eddy. Just stay long on this one. And NTAP was hoping for more of a doji, no, just for a breakout, that if it broke out through the 50, coming out of this fry pan bottom, notice our little scoop type pattern with a left-right combo, I'd still be a buyer of this one on positive trading. There's a gap to fill right here, and if they've got that much momentum, they're going up to the 200. Yes, the on MTX, if you see that you've missed MTX, that you've missed the move, this is where you make it a learning experience. Just notice what was happening down here, and when the buying could be started, you watch to see what happens here. So you don't buy it here, but you look back and say, all right, get my eyes accustomed to seeing something like this, where we're starting to see buying coming out of this slow curve fry pan bottom. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you jump into something like this. You try to find something that might have the same characteristics, because these price moves have the same characteristics that the ones that are successful. I'd be more apt to be buying something like this that is just now broken out through the 50 and tell me at least there's a room to the upside, that even if it only moved up to here, at least I'm in a positive direction, making a profit. Yes, you could see a pullback to the T-line or the 50, but right now it's not telling you that. It's just saying hang on until you see your first sell signal. Not necessarily the best place to buy. It's just we just know that if you see a pattern, that it's either going to fail when it hits this resistance level or go through. And if the pattern goes through, it tells you there's probably a lot more upside yet to come. So the 50 isn't anything that tells you when to buy or not. It just adds as confirmation that the pattern is working correctly. Ever since the big belt hold signal on deck, you stay long. You're getting a little bit toppy up here, but notice what they did on Friday. They came all the way back down to the T-line and took it right back up. Would that tell us? That they weren't selling it off. They were staying up above the T-line. CBM, big gap up, consolidation. Now you're in a nice steady eddy. Same scenario. You just stay long on this as long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. Some of the biggies, we'll get to those real quick. Netflix, starting back up. You can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow, and that positive trading will also be a function of how the pre-market futures are showing the markets are opening up in the morning. So I wouldn't be afraid to start buying Netflix. The high today was 93.11. Just to be conservative, I'd put a buy stop at 93.15. If it came up through there, that told us that this little J-hook pattern is still working, and that we're probably now heading back to the moving averages. Apple, haven't done anything with this one. Just not any trend here that you can really sink your teeth into. Now, had they closed this more than halfway up this candle, creating a Morningstar signal, then I would have been much more anxious or much more apt to buy it. But right now, there's really no buying force in here. Amazon did have a good, strong move. Notice the bobble, hit the 200, came back to the T-line, bounced back up. Where's your next target? Right here, which is where this little gap is. So at least you can identify where your upside potential is on this one. Some of the other biggies, Tesla. Stay long on this one. Notice how it's used the T-line as support. What was the other big one? Apple. Oh, well, I'll come across it. And NK has a good little chart. It back and filled today, but not anything that would create any severe concern. I'd stay long on this. Yeah, Google, nothing real attractive here. There's nothing major going on in Google. And Facebook, if you like Facebook, you can own it. It doesn't have a real prolific chart to it either. But right now it is in an uptrend. Oh, I don't think Baidu, ever since the Doji best friend gap up, suspect it's going to come up here and test this level at the 50. And Priceline, oh, I didn't notice that one. Expect a 45 degree off of here. And Rovi backed off today, but Rovi is still in this 45 degree. You stay long, just don't let it close below the T-line. All right, I think I've hit most of the ones. AGI is another gold stock that is just about ready to break out. This is where you put your buy stop right up here, right around 430. If it breaks through there, you've got wave 3 starting. You can see the T-line crunch. You can see the wedge resistance. If they break out, we know we have wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. Would you briefly explain how you use the scanning program and sort the stocks by sectors? I understand scanning, but not sure how to call this by sector. Well, there's just quickly, Frank. I know on the different softwares like Metastock or TCNet, you can scan the charts. But instead of scanning stocks, you're scanning the sectors. I think TCNet uses the Morningstar grouping. So all you have to do at that point is analyze each of the sector charts to see which ones have the strongest. And then once you've found the best ones, then you click on what do they call it? The participants in that sector, and go through those charts, the ones that make up that sector, and find the best charts. That's about as simple an explanation as I can give. When you use, well, gold, these are more of following gold itself. And if you can trade these if you like, they're just going to be a little bit more generic than the individual stocks. For this to go up 10%, it needs to go to 130 or 135, whereas something like this to go up 10%, this needs to come back up here to the recent high. So that's why if I'm trading, I'm going to usually be trading the individual stocks, the ones that have the best charts in the sector that's working. I think the miners are performing better than the commodity. That's true. Because I think right now, because gold prices have moved up and are staying up, even though they're wobbling a little bit, that's still high enough for a lot of the gold stock or the gold companies or the mining companies to be making very good profits. Doesn't matter what gold prices do on a day-to-day basis. Their gold price right now is high enough that they're back in the money at these levels. Okay, here's a few that look good. UAN, that's a nice breakout. That has the potential with a doji gap up, another gap up, double doji. That has a good prospect of heading right up to the 200-day moving average. Lots of force right here with these gap ups. So I'd look for more upside in UAN. That might be on the recommended list tomorrow for the people that want to find something fast to trade. And here's SWC, Stillwater Mining. You can see the T-line crunch. Now here at the T-line crunch, notice you had your doji gap up. So it told us the 50 is not going to act as resistance. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one. Even though you're up toward the overbought area, it's telling us they're breaking out into a new mode above the resistance level. ENLK. Nice little doji gap up. Some potential there. ANFI. You can see how this is broken out through this level with a doji gap up. Would suspect more upside from here. Oh, okay. I don't know what let's see, RNF. Yeah, that's a good looking chart also. Let's see. I like this chart. Allegheny Technologies. You can see where it's coming out of. You can see the bobble. Whoops. Now you can see what happened today. Morning star signal. I would suspect coming out of this pattern right here that you want to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. Pandora. You can see the little scoop, slow curve. You can be buying this one. You just have to be conscious of what happens once it gets to the 50. And Baby had a nice breakout yesterday. Now it opened positive and traded back a little bit. Now it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow to be buying it. If it starts trading lower, then we can see what's happening. It's more that you're in a fry pan bottom versus a breakout situation. And RWLK, there's your consolidation. Not very decisive, but told you the 50 was acting as support. T-line was kind of the base. I would suspect more upside on this one. Did I go to that? Okay, OPK. Nice fry pan bottom. This one definitely needs to have attention on positive trading tomorrow. Remember what happens coming out of a fry pan bottom? Your potential is big price moves. And SRPT, another fry pan bottom. And notice where we're trading on this one. Whoops. See if I can do this. Right there, right at the breakout. If this opens positive, now you don't have any resistance all the way up till the 200, which means you could move from the $15 range to pretty close to the $30 range, 100% upside. TRVN. Look for this fry pan bottom. What do we expect coming out of this area of a fry pan bottom? A big breakout. That one you definitely want to be buying on positive trading tomorrow. Remember what we've got here. Big gap up, doji type day. If it opens positive, you can start buying immediately. I think the biotechs, yes. What is biotechs? Is it BBI? No, it's BIB. That chart's starting to pick up some steam. Well, IBB? Yes, same thing. Abercrombie, little gap up breakout. More conservative, but decent looking chart. Oh. Oops. Hold on, I need to get a sip of water. Okay. Oops, what was I doing? I was making, it's right at the breakout level. Let's see, and a couple more here. TSO, bullish engulfing gap up. This is where you put your Fibonacci number, but your likely target could be back up to the 50. NHTC, this one you just stay long. Notice how it consolidated at the T or at the 50, now taking off again. I think wave 1, wave 3 should bring you up into this area. That was which one? Okay, and this one will probably get a lot of attention tomorrow. GLNG. If you observe the obvious was big breakout move, bullish Harami, big move, failure at the 50, came up, went through the 50, has done a morning star signal with a doji gap up on your right side of the morning star, closed just above this downtrending channel, which means if they open this positive, you got wave 3, or you're going to start moving pretty big on this one. Definitely this one will be recommended on a positive open tomorrow. And RDUS, another gap up. You can buy on positive trading. TK, you just stay long on this one with the expectation they're bringing it back up to the 50, which is also where this little gap is. So they should be able to just slide above the 50. And TNT, SU, another slow curve breakout. You can buy this one. You can see the kind of the double bottom, cup and handle, breakout through the 50. You want to be a buyer of this one also. And a couple on the short side. Lumber Liquidators just can't get out of its own way. This one you can be shorting on weakness tomorrow, because notice what you have here. You got kind of that bearish scoop pattern. And INSY, whoops, one of the biotechs that's not doing very well. This one you can get ready to short on weakness with the expectation they could bring it back down to do a double bottom. Okay, I think that's about all I have got for tonight. Still lots of good-looking charts out there, and we're not seeing anything yet that's telling us the bears are coming in. There could be some consolidation here, but that wouldn't necessarily mean the market's turning around. It might just be in a bobble. And what will usually happen in a bobble is the stocks that are got strong charts will still continue to act strong even if the market is just kind of waffling. So with that, are there any general questions on candlesticks? Hold on to your individual stock requests. I look at which ones have the best chart patterns or the highest probability chart patterns. For example, Morningstar off the 50, breaking this downward channel, stochastic coming up. That one's got a good prospect to it. And things like OPK, fry pan bottom. I'm looking for, if the market just stays steady, that some of these fry pan bottoms are going to start breaking out pretty good to the upside. So if you go back to the video on the quantified ones, the best friends are your number one, your fry pan bottom breakouts, your slow curve breakouts. Where was the slow curve breakout the other day? I can figure this out. Ah. This is the type of chart you're looking for, that slow curve breakout to the upside. Oh, Hog Driver, you don't know what a kicker signal is after all this time? Which one was it? Oh, John, there's a video on signals and patterns quantified. A lot of people will say, well, which ones out of your signals are the best? Well, essentially what we've done is out of the 50 or 60 signals, we've narrowed it down to 12 major signals. So there's basically 6 longs and 6 shorts. And those are the ones that are all the ones you're going to need to learn, which all work relatively well depending on what the market conditions are. But there's some, like this type of pattern, a slow curve breakout, that work extremely well. Your best friend, oh man, trying to figure out which ones. Yeah. Boot, thank you. I knew we had one. Boot is a kicker signal. And that's when you have a trend. Notice how this day it opened here and closed here. The next day they opened it at or above the previous day's open and went the opposite direction. So that tells you they've kicked the investor sentiment with great force in the opposite direction. That's right. Some doji look more like small trading days when you expand where a doji stops. Well, a doji is when you have very little body. Now this is what I would call a hammer doji because the body is so small. That's you consider a doji because the trading range just had a very small body. Now and that's a doji right there where it opened and closed right basically at the same level. So yeah, that's pretty much a doji. Now, if it's a very small trading day, which is rare, that's called just a star day, and I don't see any on here. But it acts like a doji. It tells you there's lots of force between the bulls and the bears. All right, and let's see. We will still be looking at lean hogs. If it comes back down through today's low after that spinning top gap down with stochastics heading down, still anticipating that we're heading back down to the 50-day moving average. Your morning star signal, yeah, works the best when it's in an oversold area. However, it still has the same ramifications that even if you aren't in an oversold area, but you can see where it's occurring, like right on a major support level. And notice how we've had this is kind of your best friend Morningstar signal with a doji followed by a gap up. That's first of all, the Morningstar signal is your signal. And then the fact that they've gapped it up on the right-hand side tells you there's usually going to be a lot of force coming out from that end. Yeah, maybe those lean hogs. The transportation index has just been more of kind of a steady move. And there was your kind of your double doji where the pullback was indecisive and then they opened up positive. So when you see this whole setup, usually implies there's going to be more to the upside. When looking for positive open, is that higher than the body or the top of the wick? That's just positive open. Doesn't matter whether it opened slightly positive here or gapped up. You're just looking for a positive open after a doji, or even a positive trading after a doji. Some of these look a bit extended. From a risk-reward perspective, how do you rationalize? Again, I'm buying the patterns. Remember, the pattern, this right now, even though we're in the overbought condition on the transports, you can see the pattern. It's a big fry pan bottom. So we're still in an uptrend until we see a major reversal. Same scenario on, was it OPK? You're getting up toward the overbought area, but this is the pattern. Remember, we're trying to buy the signals in the oversold area. We're trying to buy the pattern. When we're buying the pattern breakouts, it's usually going to occur when the stochastics are already up in the overbought condition. Okay, I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.1 seconds, do the next double line. Okay, try to do these as fast as possible. Valero, you can be buying this one and just use the T-line as your stop. Vail, there was a nice fry pan bottom. I'd be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. Because where is it occurring? Well, you got a doji gap up. What do you want to see coming out of a fry pan bottom? Exuberant buying. You're right at the resistance level. If this opens up positive, you definitely want to be buying it. Harmony, stay long. I'd be a buyer of this one on a J-hook setup tomorrow, which means positive trading tomorrow. This one, same scenario. A little bit lower price, $3, but I'd be ready to buy this one on any positive trading. Eaton, just stay long. I wouldn't be buying it here, but I would anticipate we're heading for the 200 and see what it does at that level. And that's where you flip to your 10-minute chart. MOH, kind of a trend kicker today, tells me they're probably taking this to the 200. So when they get to the 200, That's where you definitely, like we did on TCK, closed right at the 200. Makes this very simple. If they open it lower, take your profits. More than likely, it's going to be in the bobble for a few days. Worst case scenario is they open it lower and then turn around and bring it back up. You can always buy it coming up through the previous day's close, which tells you the profit taking is over. See, we did this one, right? Yes. UNH, Doji gap up, stay long. TLRD. Uh-oh, is there stuff missing here? Uh-oh, we've lost some thing in here, but this one, you can stay long. It's doing the right thing, and I don't know why we've lost some of that. CGI, another good-looking chart. Came up through the 50, came back, used the 50 as support. You can buy this one on positive trading also. This is exactly what you're using the moving averages for, and seeing what the type of selling brought it back, which was very indecisive selling. Now it's told you the indecisive selling's over. I'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading. NPO. Nothing real exciting here, but you can stay long, or if you're going to be a buyer, you can buy it if it breaks out through today's high. Telling you this little J-hook pattern's taking you up to the 200. And BHP, another slow curve, or fry pan bottom. You can buy this one on positive trading. FXCM backed off today, right back to the T-line, not to the T-line of the 50. This one has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, you close it out and just wait for the next buy signal. It's got the right setup. It broke this wedge to the downside, but I'd be more apt to close it out, see how long it waffles, and then put a buy stop above today's high, because if it comes back up through there in the next couple of days, it tells us that the support level of the 50 area is still acting as support. CBOE, nah, I wouldn't be long or short this one. Just not enough trend in either direction. And STX, same scenario. You're still in a bobble here. Stochastics heading up. I would be more apt to be a buyer of this on a positive open tomorrow, breaking out through the 50. I wouldn't be wanting to go short on this. Everything's looking like it's trying to climb up, unless there's something drastic that's happened after hours. Blue, you can buy this one on positive trading. And the reason you'd like to trade this one is because it can move pretty fast. I mean, there's a gap all the way up here to the 80 area, so that's got a good, what's 15 points on 65? That's a good 25% upside potential. VIAV, how come these charts do this? Nice steady eddy, stay long. Cray, stay long. Cabot, J-hook pattern, you can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. Oh, you just stay long unless they open this one weaker, because now you've got a flat trading area with a left-right combo. If they open this weaker, you probably want to take some profits. And Score, moving in the right direction. I'd be more apt to buy it, though, once I saw it break out through this level. I'd rather pay $42.25 for it, knowing that it broke out. If you're long, you can just stay long, but watch that resistance level. Whiting, we're waiting for some more support here. Trying to bottom, but hasn't done anything yet to tell you there's any great buying enthusiasm coming in. TZA, stay short. VSAT. VSAT, that would have been a toughie to stay in, but this is a perfect example that if you're in the overbought condition and they apparently opened it here and started trading it down, you should have stopped out right here, because where do you think they were taking it to? They were probably coming back to test the T-line. Well, once they did and they started coming back up, you could always buy it as soon as it got back up in this area, or started trading back up. I would still be ready. If you're long on this one, you better close it out if it opens weaker tomorrow, because you've got kind of a hanging man signal. If they open it lower, that means the sellers are still there, and they'll probably still try to take it back down to the T-line area. Brocade, suspect it's going to the 200. Says a safety valve. I put my stop at today's open. It shouldn't come back down through there. Lulu, you can stay long, but this one, if you're long, has to open positive and trade positive. If it closes back below the T-line, you're now in a downward channel. You probably want to be someplace else. Big needed to get up through the 50. It just barely did. You're still in this wedge, but you can be buying this one. You just have to be conscious of what happens once it gets up here in about the 39.70 range. And Smith & Wesson, left-right combo. It has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, you can see there's really no trend right now in Smith & Wesson. You probably want to close it out and move to someplace else. KNO, good looking chart. Stay long. Use the today's open as your stop. AWK, this one have earnings on Wednesday. I would rather see what it does after earnings, since there really isn't. It's telling you there's still an uptrend, but I'd rather see more uptrend, like breaking out through this level. Win, if it opens lower, you close it out immediately because it'll be in the bobble. I think that was the same thing with Las Vegas Sands. That if it opens lower, it's in the bobble. Caterpillar, don't trade this very much. It just doesn't have enough oomph to it. But if you like it right now, you stay long. If you want to buy it, wait for it to break out through this little level right here. This one, Cirrus, I'd be a buyer of this at 35.05, coming up through today's high, telling you your J-hook pattern is running. And SSO, stay. Just watch to see what it does once it gets to the 50. Fossil did the gap up. Look for the 45 degree. Just stay long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. LNG. Also stay long. Let's make this bigger where we can see it. But if it opened lower, it's probably waffling, coming back. You want to see this open positive and trade positive. I'd take profits if it opened lower, and then see what it does. What it does at the T-line. CS, nothing here. Wouldn't be long or short. HBM, you can buy this one on positive trading. Just make sure your volume's good on this one. LNT, Interstate batteries. I know them well. I buy probably at least one battery a month from them. I would be a buyer of this one on positive trading, your J-hook pattern in progress. Reynolds, just stay long, not very exciting, but you're in a slow, steady uptrend ever since your big bullish engulfing signal. Match Group. If you like it, you stay long. You can see where your trend resistance is going to be right in here. If it opened and traded below the T-line tomorrow, I'd close it out because that tells me my strength is kind of dissipating. And Nike, another one that's not a real exciting one to trade. You can see that it's stuck in this downtrending channel. If you're long, you stay long. If you're going to be a buyer, I'd wait for it to get up above the 50. And WTW has to open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, they're coming back to test the T-line. So this is nice about the doji. It gives you a very clear path of what to do. If it opens lower, you close it out. You can always buy it back if it comes back up through today's high. If it opens higher, note the consolidation's over. They're taking it up to the 50. 20-year notes. Stay long on these as long as it stays up above the T-line. AIG, probably wouldn't be long or short this one. Just not enough, nothing. I wouldn't be long in this one. NFX. This one you can get ready to buy. There's your best friend. Morningstar type signal. If I was going to buy this, I'd put a buy stop above today's high. If it has enough force to get up there, they're probably trying to push up through to this level. But strong chart with a Morningstar. MMI, another one you can be buying. And your little inverted hammer bullish confirmation. You're right here at the downtrending. I'd buy this one on good strength, preferably a little gap up on the open. Morningstar signal in marathon. Anytime you see that, that's usually a preface for a slingshot effect. Amazon, you stay long on this. I would anticipate they're coming up to fill this gap at the 50. Let's see, we did ANFI. Has a good chart. Stay long. Just broke out through this level. 3D, starting to come back up. You got the fry pan bottom. If you're buying, definitely use the T-line as your stop. Wouldn't be afraid, though, to be a buyer on positive trading tomorrow with that fry pan bottom. Bidu, you stay long. Just watch to see what happens when it gets to the moving averages. And Vince, this one has to open positive. If it opens lower, they're going to come back and waffle in here, which means your trajectory isn't real exciting. It's just going to be very slow. And Priceline, stay long. It's in a 45 degree. Oftentimes the market stocks open positive and then fade. Is it best to wait 10, 15 minutes for things to shake out? Well, this morning, when we saw the pre-market futures were up that strong, after a double doji, we knew to be buying immediately. Now, there are times, let me see if there are times, like right here. Yeah, I usually wait a few minutes. But if it opens positive in the Dow and then can't get up above the T-line and starts fading, I'll close them back out because that tells me the market hasn't turned around yet. So, yes, if I was buying, which I probably will be, GLNG tomorrow, and it opens up, let's see, it closed at 16.96. Say it opens up at 17. I'll watch it for a couple minutes. If they still start creeping it up, I'll jump in and buy. Sometimes they open it and immediately start selling it off. Then you don't touch it. But if they sell it off and then they come back up through the open, that means the quick profit taking is over. Then you want to be buying. Chesapeake, nice little scoop type pattern. You can be buying this one. Yahoo, needed to see whether it was going to get through the 50. They gapped through the 50. So that told me there's more. There's still a gap to fill up here. Still have more upside on this one. Boeing, Boeing's not a real exciting one. It has to break this downtrending channel. It wasn't very decisive for the last couple of days. I would rather pay 120 for it, knowing that it's moving. Right now, I probably wouldn't be long or short Boeing. Facebook is in an uptrend. You can stay long on this one. It's just not a real compelling chart because there's really no direction on this chart. So right now, if you're trading it, you trade it nimbly. It has to continue its uptrend, meaning it shouldn't come back and test the T-line. Alta, this one is a case where if you're down here in the oversold area and it still looks like it's short, you put your stop at the previous day's open because they shouldn't be able to bring it back up through there. Now, they didn't do a reversal signal. They just did an up day. I'd still short this, especially if it came back down through, let's say, this level, more than halfway down this candle. That basically told me they popped it up, failed at the T-line, and the gap down from the spinning top is still in progress. We did win. It closed just below the 200. You close it out. If it trades lower, expecting it to probably come back to test the T-line. If it trades lower and then turns around and comes back up, you can always buy it back when it comes up through the 200. Sedge. This one, that's a probably more apt to go short on this one. With your left-right combo today, yes, I'd be more apt to go short. Then just watch to see whether it supports at this level. Wriggles. This is a case where when you see it gap up, especially right to a resistance level, and it starts selling off, take your profits. Worst case scenario is they turn it around. You can always buy it back as it comes up through that level. Right now, I probably wouldn't be trading this one at all. If you're long, it has to open positive. If it opens weaker, it's just not a good chart. You're caught in this downtrending channel. And Baba, just stay long. Look for it to come up to this level right here. Let's see. Bank of America. It's such a stodgy stock to trade. It has a little kicker signal. You can be buying it. Just don't expect any real hefty returns out of it. And I think we did. I know we didn't do Skyworks. You stay long on this one since your doji gap up. I'd also look for the 50 right here. Thank you, Tommy. I'm afraid I overworked the poor guy, but he's always good-natured and Rovi, stay long. Just don't let it close below the T-line. Expect to be in a 45 degree. How did I get Sonic? Sonic, nothing real exciting here. It's got a lot of junk. If it opened lower tomorrow, I'd close it out because it's stuck here in this downtrending channel. It definitely needs to get up above today's high to stay in it. Futures are currently trading lower. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Remember, the futures are the sentiment right now, which may be completely different at 9:27 tomorrow. ADS, just stay long on this one. There's a gap to fill up in here right at the 50. AMD, it's all right. Nothing that I'd get real excited about. What if the market's going the other way? Well, that's part of your your entry evaluation. If we wake up tomorrow and the pre-market futures are down 140, even if this will open positive, I'd probably wait around to see what's going to happen. But if they're selling the market off that hard, I don't want to jump into any long positions. So the reason we're long is right now there isn't anything telling us yet that they're trading this market off. So even if they took this market off a little bit, which would be expected here at the 50, the strong charts are still probably going to act pretty strong because it's not going to be a reversal. It's just going to be some profit taking. Freeport, stay long on this one. That's a good looking chart. Win, I wouldn't go short. You could go short if you want to trade it real quick. If it opens weaker, I expect it to come back down to the T-line, and then you're ready to cover it at that point. CZZ, nice breakout. Anticipate heading for the 200-day moving average. OCUL, this is running into kind of a blasé. If it opened lower, I'd probably close it out. It means they're coming back to test the 50. If I was going to buy it, I'd buy it if it came back up through this level. That would tell me this consolidation is over. OCLR, just stay long. Ever since your belt hold piercing signal after the inverted hammer, just stay long. You had the message, you had the consolidation. Now you're in that steady 45 degree. NK needs to open positive tomorrow, but right now I would stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. KMI, just stay long. BVN, just stay long. Nice little left-right combo. I'd be a buyer above this level. Enjoy. Nice cup and handle. Another one where you can stay long. You can even be buying this one on positive trading. Okay, a few more, and then we'll go take our heavy sweaters off and get in our jammies. This one you can be buying. If you like this one, probably heading back up to the 50. Whole Foods, having a hard time getting up through the 200. Now this, the 50. This one I'd be more apt to short. With the left-right combo right here at the 50, I'd short this one on weakness with the anticipation they'd be bringing it back down to the bottom of this trend channel. PayPal, nothing here to get real excited about. If it opened lower, I'd probably close it out because you can see that the channel is starting to set up. Yeah, that's a feed in them. All right, last one will be VTL. You can be buying it. It's not anything that has shown anything decisive. You can see all the doji type days. If I was buying it, I'd put a buy stop above today's high, which was 850. I'd be more apt to put a buy stop at 855 with the anticipation back up to the 50. Okay, everybody. How they open the market tomorrow will tell us what type of trading we're going to have in the morning. Which means if they open the Dow lower, means they're going to have a bobble in here. So if they open it a wee little bit lower, that means we're just merely resisting at the 50. Your strong charts are still probably going to act pretty strong. All right. With that, everybody, we'll see you bright and early in the chat room.